I'm Yuri, and we met before, I think once.
Yes.
Maybe you can just tell me a little about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I know your name is Sharif, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it very well.
You are pronouncing it very well.
Uh-huh.
Yes, my name is Sharif. The other name is Mohammed. I think, as I had told you when we met at the office, my background is in IT. So I've been in technology for the past 17 years since graduating from university. I've spent most of it as an employee working for different companies, IT consulting companies, banks, automotive industry, a small stint at a non-governmental organization, and the last few years working now as a founder on my own startups. Yes.
So you said almost 20 years.
Yes, almost 20 years, because I graduated in the year 2007 from the University of Nairobi.
Yeah.
With BSc in computer science. So after graduation, that's when actually I started working. My first job immediately after graduation was at the UN here at Gigiri, WFP. I worked as an IT assistant, but I left after 1 month. Because I got an when you graduate from the university, you apply for multiple jobs at the same time. You are not sure which one will come through.
Yeah.
So as I got the one from the university, I also got from the UN. I was also invited for another one from the company that I went to, 7Cs Technologies. So what happened was that I went for the interview, but I was not going for the interview to look for the job. I was actually going to tell them, I already have another job, so thank you for inviting me, so I will not be pursuing the opportunity.
Okay.
However, when I went there, they told me, no, we want you to come and work with us. So they didn't interview me. They just said, when I told them that, they said, no, we want you to work with us. So leave your current job and come. So I told them, I can't do that. So they said, don't make the decision now. We will give you, go and think about it for 1 week. Then if you still want to come and join us, you can come. So I went and thought, I consulted a few people, including one of my lecturers.
You were doing what kind of job?
At that time, it was just basic IT. So at the UN, I was just IT assistant. So basically providing user support, for the staff.
For some systems, make sure they are up and running.
Yes, making sure the systems are running, making sure all users are set up. The basic support, setting users on email, making sure the emails
like
are working.
Admin stuff.
Basically, yes. Not highly technical work.
Yeah.
But this other company, the job was highly technical. So now I was in a dilemma. Should I stay where I am, or should I move to the new opportunity?
But you felt like you have this kind of mindset for more complex type of work. I mean, coding and stuff.
Yes. So each had its pros and cons. The one that I was doing had more money actually. The pay was higher than this new one. But this new one had more opportunities in terms of training, in terms of exposure, and then also even in terms of future prospects, in terms of growth.
Yeah.
Because they told me, we will start you on a lower salary than what you are getting, but in 6 months, depending on how well you work, you will be able to match what you are getting there. So when I talked now to a few people, one of them was my lecturer. He told me, no, don't leave the UN. The UN is a very good company. It's a big name. So stay there. Then I talked to other people, different advice. But
Yeah.
finally, I made the decision to resign from the one at the UN and join this company. So that's how I started my career now properly. Because the other place I stayed just for 1 month.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is where you started learning middleware?
Yes, this is where I started learning middleware. So the good thing was that I joined that company at a time when they have just won a very big project. So they were looking for staff. So that project is the project I told you it was for Safaricom.
Yeah.
Actually, the project name was called Raha.
Okay.
And what Safaricom wanted to do was to create a single CRM for their customer care, their customer care team. So before this project, Safaricom customer care used to work in a very challenging environment, which was that they had to log into like 7 different systems. You know, this is a customer care agent.
Yeah.
You are not an IT person. So when a user calls to ask about something, let's say the user has lost a SIM card and maybe they want that SIM card stopped or they want to do a SIM swap.
Yeah.
The customer care agent will log in, for example, to the billing system.
First to check some transaction to verify the customer, yeah?
Yes, or maybe to stop the billing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Then the customer will log into the ERP
Another system.
system to maybe remove that SIM card from the stock. Then the customer might log into the network, the HLR, to request that that SIM card to be stopped. Then if the user wants to get maybe a new SIM card, they may have to issue something from another system. So it was very complicated. If a user makes a call about, let's say, scratch card, where he has topped up and he said the customer will have to log into, for example, the voucher management, the card management system. If the user has maybe purchased a SIM card and there is a problem, he might need to log into RMS, the retail management system. So all this, so the agent will have to have maybe 7, credentials and go through all, it was very complicated. So they wanted to have one CRM where the customer care agent will log in, and then from there just request. If it's the user history, you'll just click somewhere. For example, there was something they were calling VBC, Virtual Business Component. You click that, it shows you. So that was the project. So I joined that team as one of the middleware engineers, because that project had many components. There was the CRM, the front end, there was the middleware, then there was the database, then there was the order management. So different teams focused on different components.
Mm-hmm. And for how long you stayed there in Safaricom? Because you told me you were working also in the bank.
So for that that project, we were working as a consultant for Safaricom. We were not working directly for Safaricom.
Not as employee.
Not as employees. We were the solution provider.
Third party.
Yes, third party.
Oh, okay.
So I worked on that project for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, now I moved to other projects, because after 3 years the project was concluded and it was handed over to the owners, who was Safaricom.
Basically, you finished your contract.
Yeah, and that is now where this other story I was telling you came about. So once we finished this project, that's the time now Safaricom offered me to join them, because I've been working on this project for 3 years, so they wanted some form of continuity.
Right.
Yes, but as I had said, I didn't join, although initially I had agreed with them. I signed the contract, but
you've received a counter offer.
I received a counter offer from my employer, who told me, "Do not go. We still need you to work with us."
That's very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like now the first 4 years of my
IT journey.
IT. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Also now another thing, the company that I was working for, it was we call them system integrators. So these are companies that provide IT services to other companies using vendor technologies. So usually not their own IP. For example, the company is a partner for Cisco, is a partner for Oracle, is a partner for Sun Microsystem. So what they do is, let's say a company like KPLC, Kenya Power and Lighting, needs Oracle systems implemented, but they don't have, the internal capacity. So this system integrator...
Internal capacity, what do you mean?
They don't have, let's say, the engineers.
Okay,
you want to implement, for example, Oracle systems. Let's say you want to deploy new database. You want to deploy new, for example, servers, like some of the servers, for example, that is called engineered systems, like Exadata and those kind of things. So most of the time, you will find that these companies do not have staff who are skilled and certified in these technologies. So this company called IT integrators, these are the ones now who have partnerships with Oracle. Okay. So they will sell Oracle to this company and then they will implement. Or if it is Cisco, they will implement. If it is SAP, so they are called IT system integrators. They are very big companies in Kenya. So the company that I was working for, 7 Seas Technologies, was one such company. There are others like Copycat, Cybil, Dimension Data, many other companies that provide that kind of services.
So basically, if the business requires, as you said, if a business requires some third-party vendor, but also they don't know what they need some consultancy and stuff like this. So now this vendor integrators coming along and they can consult. They can say, you can use this one. This is how much you might need to pay for, maybe for license and everything. And then also you might need to do some coding so as we can integrate. So instead of now approaching directly a vendor, because that might be a little more expensive, right? You are reaching to a vendor integrator, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly how it is. So sometimes it could be more expensive, but sometimes also the vendor themselves do not have local presence.
Right.
So you want, for example, SAP implemented. But SAP is based, let's say, in Germany or the US. So they will tell you, we have a local partner, a system integrator who is authorized to implement SAP on our behalf. Then this company will give you the quote. Then they'll get the license from SAP. Then they will implement on your behalf. So, for example, at that time, 7 Seas was a partner for Oracle, Cisco. It was a partner for Sun Microsystems before it was acquired by Oracle. Nowadays, Sun Microsystems is part of Oracle. So that's what now we used to do. The middleware I was working for example, was called TIBCO. Mm-hmm. That was also, it's a company that is based in the US, but we were their local partner. So we implement those projects on their behalf, and then we charge the customer for the consultancy and the implementation services.
Right.
Yes.
I think I had a similar experience with Shopify. So many people, there are also some like companies that are providing services in case if you need move your shop from Shopify, or maybe come up with some integration between Shopify and now your own shop. Maybe you're building your own e-commerce.
Yes.
And Shopify, as you said, they might not have a local presence in some areas.
Yes.
So now there are those proxy companies that can basically do it for you. They know they have experience with Shopify.
Yes.
They have experience with some technologies on the other side, so they can basically bridge this.
Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes, they provide that local support, and then also the issue of even the cost comes in. Mm-hmm. Because these engineers, for example, they have different rates. If you are to get engineers directly from Oracle that is based in the US. If they are to send their engineers here in Kenya to come and implement, the daily rate they will charge you might be different from what an engineer who is provided by a locally based company.
Right.
Yes. Of course, there's also the issue of closeness, time. So all those kind of things. Now, the other thing that happens, which also is one of what happened part of my early IT career, is that these companies are required to maintain a certain level of competency. And this competency is measured in certifications. So if, let's say, you are a Cisco partner, you are required to have maybe 5 engineers who are Cisco certified network professional or Cisco certified security experts. So because of that, we were required to do a lot of certifications. For example, now myself, when I joined, one of the KPIs that I was to accomplish was do certifications. So I did Oracle certification, Oracle certified associate, Oracle certified professional, Cisco certified network associate, TIPCO certified professional. So you have to do all those kind of certifications so that one, you have the expertise to implement projects when the client requires, but also the vendor that is the owner of the solution also gives you that authority to implement because they see you have the competency and also the certification to prove that you have achieved what is required. So that's also one of the key things that happened in early part of my career.
But that's also the company is investing in you, right? They are paying for all those things. Basically, they are upskilling you.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yes, and in fact, that was one of the reasons why I joined. As I mentioned earlier, when I worked for the other initial company, which was the UN, there was no that opportunity for growth. But this company, they said, we are going to upskill you and we will pay for all your training and certifications.
Yeah.
So yes, that's and on their side it's investment, but sometimes it's also used to work against them because
people get some skills and experience and they leave.
Exactly. In fact, I remember there's a time I was working with a few others. They were taken for training to, let's say, another country like South Africa. They come back a month later, they leave.
That's
because they are headhunted by bigger companies now that offer them more. And because you're already certified and they have not incurred the cost, they can pay you more. So it's one of the challenges that these companies faced.
Yeah. So along the way, how many companies you've changed before you actually started your own business?
Many companies. I've worked for many companies.
Many.
Yes, but also the idea didn't start after I left. It started while I was working.
The idea.
Yes, the idea. So it started while I was working. In fact, while I was working for my first company, one of the things that I did was I came up with the idea because I observed, some local problems in the education sector and so other things. And in fact, part of the inspiration came from the certifications that I was doing. As I said, you were doing a lot of certifications. So some of these certifications, you don't go for training to a classroom. So what used to happen is, let's say you are to do Cisco certified network, professional, or CCNP or CCNA, for example.
Right.
So there are 2 ways you can attain. One is you can join a technical college where or a professional company that offers that kind of training. You go there, you do the training for 2-3 weeks, 1 month. Then after that, you do some reading, then you sit for the exam. The other is you can read for yourself. You can get videos online, prepared by some experts, listen to them, and then study, then sit for the exams. So that is the option we were using most of the time. So, for example, there's a company that we used to get videos from. It's called CBT Nuggets. It's one of it's an IT training. So they have video training for all sorts of IT courses. So when I saw those videos and I was able to use them, to do certifications and pass exams, then I thought, what if we use the same concept for learning even in non-professional courses, like, for example, high school education, where you find that there are some schools that do not have good quality teachers. They do not have access to lab materials or resources. So what if we prepare content in a similar fashion and then put it on a platform, and then students can access from every part of the country? So that's actually how the idea
Was born.
Was born.
Yeah.
So, in fact, initially, I even pitched the idea to the company that I was working for.
And what did they say?
So, the CEO provided some support, but I was connected to one of the business development team to work with. Unfortunately, it did not pick up because
Did not fly.
It did
Why?
not fly. I think they had different priorities.
Of course.
They want the business development team, and they want
looking
looking for
features.
not even features. They are looking for deals that you can close quickly. This is long term. You invest in this project, you put money. So by the time you get resources, you get some returns. It's maybe 1-2 years. But
Of course.
this person is interested in going to a company, closing a deal in 1-2 months. They have given you a check to provide consultancy service or implement. So the priorities were not aligned. So that's when I pitched. In fact, that idea, I think I tried like about 4 times, 4 different approaches that failed, until I think it's about the 5th time that it succeeded.
And you've done some POC. I mean, I'm just curious on what stage it stuck. It got stuck.
When?
Yeah, when you said you pitched this idea and you kind of you've been working with another team, but then it didn't.
So most of the time it got stuck at just the initial, the concept.
At the concept even.
Yes, because I had a concept. I just did something very small, like a very small sample. Then
proof of concept. Yeah.
Yes, you pitch to someone.
Yeah.
Then so usually what used to happen is that it did not fail initially. So the person will say, "This is a very good idea. Let's work on it together."
But
there is no. Usually it doesn't move from there. So.
Yeah.
Then you agree, okay, we meet after 2 weeks to move on the next steps. Then that meeting does not happen.
Of course.
It gets postponed. Then after 3 months, you think
it's not relevant anymore.
Nothing is going to happen. So you give up.
Yeah.
Then you say, okay, I need to try another approach. You try again, same thing, almost 3-4 times. The other thing also was those failures also were learning opportunities for me, because when the first time it failed, now I moved to, and I said, okay, whatever has caused the failure, the next time I will not repeat the same. So for example, the first time when it failed, so for this project to work, there were a few components that were required. One, you required teachers, or the experts who are the subject, the matter experts, the contents to develop. 2, you required the IT, the technology experts to develop the platform. And then maybe you needed just, a project manager and somebody to organize.
Someone who will coordinate and track all those little sub projects. And
so that person was available.
Right.
It was me.
Right.
Now, the teachers, initially, in the first time, I was not paying them. I told them, let's work on this. It's a very good idea. Work on it. So once the idea succeeds, then we will make money. Then you will get revenue from that.
Right.
So I was not paying them upfront.
Right.
So that was the first time.
They basically became your partners.
Yes, partners. Unfortunately, that did not work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because so I learned from that. That was the first thing I learned, that a lot of people are not willing to partner with you based on some future payout. They have to be paid instantly, and then they will do the work. Then you worry about whether that is going to make money in the future or not. That's your problem. In fact, I said that a lot of these people, for them to work with you, you need to have what I call the instruments of coercion.
Instruments?
Of coercion.
What's that?
Oh.
How do you say it?
Have you heard of the word to coerce? Coerce is like to force someone. Like, for example, we say governments have instruments of coercion. Like today, if you don't pay tax, the government can arrest you and put you in jail. They can send policemen with guns. That's an instrument of coercion.
Is it from legal? I think legal has this kind of term to like that you have a rule or a law, and then you have an instrument to make people obey that law. Right?
Yes. So one of the things that I have learned, maybe I may be biased or maybe but I think it applies to all human beings. Most of the time, for you to work with human beings, you need to have instruments of coercion. For example, your employer, they have an instrument of coercion. Right. That instrument of coercion is the money they pay you.
They can delay my salary?
Or they can withhold. They'll tell you, if you don't do this job, we will not pay you. See, they have some instrument of coercion. So now one of the things I learned from that is that if I don't have instruments of coercion, it will be very difficult to make the people work. Because what happened is, initially these teachers, you agree. Then later you call them, they don't even pick your call. And then there's nothing you can do, because since you are not paying them any money, you don't have any, so you can't tell them, if you don't deliver this, I will not pay you. It was just based on promise.
Exactly. And this is one of the problems when you work with your friends, because you don't have those instruments, and you just believe, and your friends can say like, I have some other things. And you rely, you can't rely. And I had this so many times also in my experience, when I'm trying to do something with my friend.
Yes.
I don't have those instruments, and I don't want to. You don't want to be rude.
Yes.
So,
in fact, you are very right, because
I had this mistake many times.
The first teacher I used was actually my friend.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And he stopped picking my calls.
Sorry. Yeah.
And this is a childhood friend, like
right.
Even his family and my family.
Yeah. These are our business ideas.
Our friend. We are still friends. In fact, even just like maybe 1 year ago or 6 months ago, he called me to help him buy some laptops for him in here. Because he knows, I'm an IT expert. So when he wants to buy things like gadgets.
Yeah.
Yes. But at that time, because I was not paying him, so that was one of the first things I learned, was that if you want maybe to work with people and they have to deliver, then you maybe need to have some kind of contract, and that contract has to have some consideration or some payments. Right. Where if they don't keep their part of the deal, then there is also something which they will not get. So in that way, now you have what I call the instrument of coercion, where you tell them, okay, I want you to develop this material. Once you finish, you meet that milestone, I'm going to give you this amount.
Right.
So now that works. So that's one of the lessons I learned, which later now became useful in making the project successful. Yes.
Yeah, I understand. We have to learn the hard way sometimes.
Yes.
The hard way. And I've done these mistakes also many times. And I also learned that if you don't know for certain, as you said, like maybe it's instruments, or maybe there's some another agreement that this is going to work, then it might not work, because if you just rely on hope, you hope that your friend is going to help you, And this thing can ruin your friendship, your business ideas.
Yes. In fact, a lot of times, hope and inspirations are not sufficient because that's what I tried initially, showing them a big vision, inspiration. I say,
Like Steve Jobs.
We do this. Huh? Once we do this, we're going to impact maybe 3 million students.
Right.
And then from those 3 million, 1 million is going to be our customers. Each is going to pay 1,000 shillings. That's going to give us 1 billion shillings. Then, we can share part of that money. You see now that was the inspiration. Unfortunately, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was one of my now first. So that idea started while I was still working.
So after how many years you actually executed your plan?
So the plan, it after 5 years.
After 5 years?
Yes. The first 4 years, it failed. It failed about 4 times because I tried like every year a new approach until the 5th time. Now the 5th year, that's when it worked.
But very nice thing that if this idea still sticks with you after that long time, you know for sure that this is a good idea. Because some ideas, when you fail, you just you switch to something else. But if thing sticks with you for that long time, then
yes,
it's definitely worth it.
Yes, yeah,
to keep pushing it. Right?
Yes, and fortunately, it is still working. So it's something that after 5 years. So since then, I think it's been now working for another 5 years. So after the 5th year, it worked, and then from there now.
Well, yeah, I wanted actually to show us this. If let me play the TV, and I just want to show everybody that what is it?
Just type dawati.co.ke.
Okay, let me. Yeah, let me do this. Yeah, I think I already here. Yeah, I opened a couple of pages. We can see. Yeah, I think this is
yes,
this is it. Yeah,
this is the app. So I think if you look at it, you can see. So this it's basically an e-learning app for high school students. And what we did, which was our original idea, was you get the best teachers in Kenya.
Okay.
From the top schools. Then these teachers are equipped to prepare content. So you train them to prepare content in a digital format. Then now you put this content on a platform, a web platform and an app, so that students from anywhere now can benefit from these teachers. So the idea is only few lucky students, who are maybe from well-off families can access these teachers. So the idea was, how do we make sure these teachers are accessible?
I understand now. So it's like basically you solved the problem that if some material, right, if the teachers are not that good or the schools are not maybe doing this very, very properly.
Yes.
Right. So we have a problem where, some schools, they don't really manage to prepare you that well for the exam. Yes. So basically, for you to to succeed, you need to be able to find yourself a very good teacher.
Yes.
And that sometimes it's not, as you said, not accessible.
It's not accessible because one, these teachers are few.
Or in the country.
Yes, in the country. And there's a statement that they usually make, which is that you cannot photocopy these teachers.
Photocopy. Clone.
Yes, you cannot clone them. You can, because these are human beings. So because you cannot clone them, the next best thing you can do is use technology to widen their access. In fact, if you go to dawati.co.ke, I want to show you something. The website, yes, go there.
Okay.
So click your teachers, that written, for example, your teachers.
Okay.
Then go down, scroll down. So just select, for example, the first teacher.
Oh, so these are the teachers
Yes.
of your content.
Yes.
Wow.
So just click the first one, the lady, view profile. So you see, for example, if you look at this teacher, the qualifications,
Yeah.
this teacher has masters in science, and then this teacher has been teaching for 30 years plus. And this teacher is teaching in one of the top schools in Kenya. So this school, only the maybe top 5 students in the country can get to these schools because they are so competitive. It takes only like the best students. Then just go down. If you look at this teacher has already is an author of 4 books. So you can see the accolades of the teacher. Author of 4 books, 2 courseworks, teacher's guide. So this is like top quality teacher. So not every student can access. So what we have made is we have made now this teacher accessible to 1 million students. In fact, if you look at you go back to the app online, you can see the app itself. Where was the app? Yes.
Yeah, it's here.
The app has how many? 100,000 downloads. Look at the app, the statistics for the app. So that already shows you how good. You can see 100K plus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I see.
Yes.
So it's
100K plus downloads.
Which country?
Kenya.
Just in Kenya?
Just in Kenya.
Is it available also in some other countries in Africa?
No.
In Play Store?
Play Store they can access,
but
it may not be useful to them because the content is per Kenyan curriculum. Our idea was in the long run, we create content for specific countries, but they can be accessed from the same app. Just go to the Dawati again, the web.
Yeah.
Bachelor's education, Master of Science in Nuclear Physics, then is a PhD. So this kind of teachers now are not available because they are
to everyone. They used to not be not available to majority.
To majority. So this is now what we have been able to do. Then just go up. I want to show you some more statistics. Click our impact.
Okay.
So I think this, for example, it's connected to our analytics. So you can see the number of students who are using.
Interesting. You are exposing your analytics to public, basically. Yeah?
Yes. So you can see, for example, there are 62,500 students who are learning on the platform.
Wow.
That place written up video minutes. Just the second row. Click more info. Yes, I think we are active on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
And also YouTube.
Okay. I'll ask you later. You give me your all contacts.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's for the platform. Myself, I don't have Instagram. So.
Yeah. For the platform, man, that's fine.
Yes.
So basically, you've. The question I wanted to ask: what is the range of the age of your students from which grade till which grade? And also, I don't really understand exactly how the school system works here.
So the grade is from grade. In Kenya we call it Form 1, but it's grade 9.
From what
grade
age?
Grade 9 to. So this is, let's say, 13 years.
From 13
to 18 years.
Okay, so this is all the program, all the school program, basically from Form 1
to Form 4.
To Form 4.
Yes.
Okay.
For 4 schools, 4 years of education.
4 years in the app, basically.
Yes.
Is it also available on iOS?
No. If you are using on iOS, you will have to access it from the web. So the one for the browser is available on any platform, as long as you have either laptop or Android or iOS.
You might consider to rewrite it on Flutter.
Yes, I think that's something
because it's cheap, In Flutter, you just need one engineer.
Yes.
probably, and it can support through the years.
Yes. It's something we can do. I think initially when we were creating, we looked at our demographics and
of course, so many people just most of them using Androids.
Yeah, especially in Kenya, most people, especially if you are looking at high school type of students who will be given maybe either cheap devices by their parents or something like that. So it's unlikely they will have iOS. So as you said, this was just part of my journey. So it started while I was working. So initially this was going in parallel and I was working. So from 7Cs, I went to another company called Cellulant, which is also another IT integrator.
Okay.
And that's how I got introduced to the financial sector, because what Cellulant was doing was they were mobile money integrators. So they were doing mobile money integration for banks. In fact, at that time when I was working there, I was working with 3 banks. Barclays Bank, which now is called Absa.
Oh, you used to call Barclays.
Yes,
this Absa Bank. Yeah, yes. I'm using it at the moment. I have an account.
So Barclays, because it was owned by Barclays, then I think Absa from South Africa acquired it.
Oh, okay.
Barclays Bank, Standard Chartered, and First Community Bank. When I joined that company, Cellulant, I joined it as solutions manager for digital banking. So that's how I got introduced into the banking. But I didn't stay there for too long. From there, I moved to another company, which is that company is called Karel Technologies. In fact, it's the company for the office that
I visited the other day.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I worked in that company for another 1.5 years. So that company now is, when I was working for Karel Technologies, that is when this idea finally worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because I pitched the idea to the CEO of Karel Technologies. I've told them, I have this idea that could change the education sector. And I have tried before, but I've not been able to make it work because of resources. So can you support this idea as Karel Technologies, and you become a shareholder? You take a stake in the idea.
Yeah.
You provide the resources, the money to pay the teachers, the office for the engineers, maybe to work from, and the equipment. So they provided that support.
Okay, so that's nice.
Yes. So that's how the idea now finally was able to work. Because initially, as I had told you, I was trying to work with very limited resources. And it was becoming a problem because we are not paying the teachers, they just disappear.
Right.
So that's how it worked.
This is how you onboarded now nice, good teachers.
Yes.
Okay.
Because now we told them we will sign contract with you, we will pay you this amount, and then in the long run you will be getting royalties from. But upfront we will pay you some money to facilitate you the development of the work.
Yeah. Would they did they maybe got a little scared because you know how usually people get when you want to introduce something some innovation or something new, they think, oh, this might replace me, they might not need me in school, I need to keep this knowledge to me, I need to be the best, but I don't want to do this outside.
I think there was a small bit of it, but it was not a big challenge because all of them understood. We told them this is not going to replace you.
Right.
It's going to supplement,
Exactly.
Because you will continue to teach the students, but these students also need to be able to access your knowledge anytime, they need, on demand, even when you are not available for them. So they understood. They said, even my own students can benefit because...
And they can use it for their own benefit, right?
Yes.
I mean, the teachers, they can use it to prepare for the classes, right?
Yes.
I even thinking, when you told me about this, I was because the other day I saw like my school back in Ukraine, and they put they basically like put some modern screens and everything.
Yes.
I wonder if, for example, if you are developing this, right?
Yes.
I think on the next level, let's say
Yes.
if it comes to a physics or whatever,
Yes.
you can actually implement some kind of application that would allow them to do some more interactive work, not just like the lectures to read,
Yes. Yeah.
but also some application that they would use on those on the touch screen, right, where they can maybe calculate formulas and everything.
Yeah.
I've seen many schools they adopted this. Of course they're using whiteboards and those classic boards, but
Yes.
some of them they have you put your USB card, and you basically you can do your tasks or maybe demonstrate what you've done and how you do it and stuff like this.
Yes.
Because since you already know the program,
Yes.
and if some schools they want to innovate, they want
Yes.
to come up with some more modern way of teaching.
Yes, that's very possible.
Right.
Of course, it's something that will be a bit more resource intensive, so it will require more resources. For now, what we've done for the physics and sciences is that we have recorded the experiments. Actually, in the
Video.
lab. Yes, video.
Nice.
So if you log in, you will be able to see. For example, if there's a physics experiment, so we told the teachers, go to your lab, put on your lab kit and do the experiment. Then we video recorded the experiment. So
Nice.
It's available on the platform. So now the students can view that experiment and they can repeat it.
Exactly, and in school they can also play that experiment.
Yes.
In case if they don't have,
Yes.
because in schools sometimes is that they don't have some of the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, you are right. Some schools don't have. They call them reagents. Those reagents. And
Yeah,
components.
reagents. Yes.
They don't have because they are expensive.
Right.
And sometimes the students can forget, so they can rewind and replay maybe 2-3 times, and then maybe they'll do once, and then the next time they can just view it. So it's one of the things also we've done. If a school has a screen, you just put it on the screen, and then you go through it.
Have schools partnered with some of the schools in Kenya? Have they like partnered with you already?
No, we've not partnered with the schools. What we've done is mainly our approach has been B2C, but we are
B2C.
exploring partnering with some schools.
Because they might have a very general query. They can say, yeah, we need like a next step, next gen education, and you can come and say, yeah, we can provide you everything, not just as one part of solution, but I mean all that IT stuff. Bring screen to the classroom, mount them, explain training and everything. But I understand it's a little different from what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's something that can be done. The only challenge with that is that can be done by the big schools, the schools that already
With budget.
Good budget for technology.
Because for them, I assume them might be much more easier just to go to one person, plus you have all the education, everything, than to approach a few different vendors to say, you do this, and then we need an IT guy, we need this guy, we need this.
Yes.
So yeah.
So that's definitely an idea that's worth considering.
Right. So and when you launched when was your first release and how was it? You can share some experience. I mean, of once your this company you work for, and the boss entertained this idea, right?
Yes.
So from that time, how much time you needed actually to prepare something and release?
I think 1.5 years.
Okay.
1.5 years. After 1.5 years, we were able to release. So initially, we released the web version and some content, like 20% of the content. Then another 1 year later, we released now the app. And then we worked on the content which took us like another 3 years to complete.
Okay.
But the students were already using the first version and the content that was done. Then I think now slowly we started growing. Now we experimented with different modes of reaching the end users, including visiting schools, doing online campaigns. And eventually what we found was that online campaign on Google Android was the most effective in terms of reaching high number of students. And that's now the campaigns we've been running. That's how actually we were able to get the 100K plus.
Mostly through Google Ads.
Yes, Google Ads on Android.
Android.
Google Ads, when you can actually promote an app, you create a campaign for app downloads. Then it targets users who are looking, for example, e-learning content on Android.
Was Googling some questions from math
Yes, exactly.
to prepare for the exam, and they say sponsored. This is what you
Yes.
use to save your time.
Yes, so that we found was the most effective compared, for example, with other platforms like using maybe Facebook,
YouTube.
in Instagram, or even YouTube, because this was targeting people who are already looking for something similar.
Yeah, and you identified a very specific niche.
Yes,
Where this is coming to. So you could easily isolate and say people from this range of, right?
yes. So and I think when we met, I think I had already told you. So this was just one of my platforms, but I have actually done some few other startups.
Simultaneously.
Yes.
Like at the same time of doing this, you had also some others.
Yes, but this was the first. So others came later. I had a startup in healthcare, and then another one in Fintech. Because I worked for 2 banks. After I left Cellulant, I came to this company called Karel Technologies, where Dawati was started. After 1.5 years, I left them again. So I went to the banking. I joined a local bank here in Kenya. In fact, the bank is not very far from here. It's just in Kilimani, their head office. I joined that bank as the head of IT. So
Head of department.
yes. So while working there, now that's also when I expanded now my interest in fintech, because from there I was able to observe some challenges in the fintech space.
Or you've changed many domains in technology.
Yes,
Banking, fintech.
I've worked for banking. I've worked for fintech.
Yeah.
I've worked for. There's also after I left the bank, I worked for like 1 year in that bank. I left. I joined a company called Automobile Association of Kenya. As their CIO.
Automobile.
Yes.
They needed a tech guy.
Yes, you know AA.
I don't think so. What is it? Maybe I know.
AA is they are more than 100 years old in Kenya.
Wow, I don't know. I've never.
And it exists in more than 100 countries. So in America, it's called AAA. So they're called Automobile Association of Kenya. In fact, if you check online, you will find. So it's an association. It's very big. It's like UN. It's global. So every country has its own. So for example, in America, it's very big. It's called AAA. In Germany, it is there. In the UK, it's called Royal Automobile Association. In Kenya, it used to be called Royal Automobile Association of Kenya. So they do few things. One of them is they teach driving. Like they are the pioneers. They're the people who set standards in driving schools, curriculum, those kind of things.
Oh, I see.
They issue something called international driving license. For example, if you want today to go and drive in Australia, they can give you a special license called IDP. They even issue passport for cars.
Okay, passport for cars. Yeah.
Yes, if you want to travel with your car from here
Okay.
to
I
South
see now.
Africa.
I see what you're saying.
So it's a very big company. They have in Kenya, I think they have close to 400 staff and about 40 branches in the country. They were started, as I told you, in 1919. So now they are maybe 106
Years old.
6 years old. So I joined them as a CIO. So one of the things that they wanted to do was they wanted to digitize a lot of things. And in fact, while I was there, my experience with Dawati came in very handy for them because I developed
The whole process is around the training.
In fact, I developed for them a testing platform. In fact, you can check now if you go online, you can look for AA driving test app. And that's one of the products I developed while I was there, and they are still using it.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, this one. It's also one of it's used by students for doing tests.
Also has 100K
Yes.
customers. Wow, nice. Oh, and it has, what is it? Is it like some additional apps?
Yeah, they have some additional apps. So we for example, one of the work they do is motor vehicle valuation. We also created while I was there an app for valuing motor vehicles. So let's say today, if you want to get insurance for your car,
Right.
the insurance company will charge you maybe 5% of the value of the car. So how do they know what is the correct value of the car? So this company does motor vehicle valuation. So they will tell you your car is worth 1.5 million shillings.
Right.
Yeah, so it's one of their biggest jobs. So we also created the platform for motor vehicle valuation while I was there. Also, they provide something called mileage rates. Yeah, if let's say the company that you are working for, M-Gas, they send you to another town in Kenya, Kisumu, and you use your car, you drive there for 400 kilometers, they're supposed to compensate you. How much will they give you? So there's something called mileage rate. They will tell you every kilometer you went based on the car. If you took a small car that has 2,000 cc, then they will give you, let's say, 110 shillings per liter. If you used a car that is 3,000 cc, they will give you 150 shillings. It's called the mileage rate. It's used by governments, corporate. So this company also, they determine that. So
this was also one of your.
Yes, it's one of my. It's one of my. So initially, when I joined, they had it as a book.
Yeah.
You buy
as a brochure.
Yes, as a brochure. But what we did was we automated it. Now you can get it online and even pay for it, and then it shows you. You just provide. You tell my car is this type of car, 2,000 cc. Maybe you say it's fully loaded,
and then you basically estimate the.
Then it will tell you per kilometer is 120 shillings. Then now you can go to your company and tell them, I went for 100 kilometers. You give me 12,000 Kenyan shillings. So it's one of the companies that I worked for. So after this company, I went again to another bank in Somalia.
Oh, you've been to Somalia?
Yes, I worked for another bank in Somalia, Mogadishu, as also in a similar role as a CIO. So while I was in Somalia is now when I left that company, that bank in Somalia is when I created a Fintech startup called Afripesa.
There's another one?
Yes.
Let me
check.
Let me check. Okay.
Yes, so this is the Fintech. So the idea of how it was born is also is very interesting. It was started because of some problems I was facing there. So in Somalia, there are very many Kenyans who are working there. maybe 50,000 plus.
In Somalia?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot.
Yes, it's a big number. So what happens is that in Somalia, there's mobile money is very strong in Somalia, just like in Kenya. So today,
Mobile banking.
no mobile money like M-Pesa. They have something similar to M-Pesa
okay.
called EVC Plus. So everything you do, you pay using mobile money. You take a taxi, you pay with mobile money. You go to a hotel, you pay with mobile money. You go to a shoe shiner. So everything is paid with mobile money. So now the problem was, if you are from Kenya, you have your money in M-Pesa, in Kenyan bank account. But when you are in Somalia, you need to use another different mobile money called EVC Plus. So there was no way of moving money from M-Pesa to EVC Plus. So if you are in Somalia...
like to transfer.
Yes. So let's say you have money in M-Pesa, 50,000 Kenyan shillings. In your EVC Plus of Somalia, you don't have any money. So the challenge is, how do I move money from this M-Pesa to this one so that I can use it? So there is no solution that's automated. The only way
unless the FedEx or something like that.
Or
like this transfer, money transfer.
Or you call someone in, let's say you can call someone in Nairobi, you send them the M-Pesa, they go to money transfer company. They take the money and then the money transfer now will give it out to you. But if you are in Somalia and you have M-Pesa, there was no way of... So that was the problem. So when I came back now, I created a payment gateway that allows someone to send money directly from M-Pesa to EVC.
Wow.
And in fact, currently it's the only one in the market.
Wow, so you become a monopolist in this thing, right?
Yes, so we launched...
And this is the service.
Yeah, it's a service.
Like I can use if I want to transfer from M-Pesa.
Yes.
If I travel to Somalia.
Yes.
I can use this one to convert money.
Yes. Even this morning, there are customers who have used it, even today. So, in fact, since it went live last year, we've moved maybe around 50 million Kenyan shillings using this.
Wow.
Across the border from M-Pesa to...
And it's instant, or it requires some approvals?
No, it's instant.
Instant, right?
Yeah, it does not require approval. Maybe sometime later I will show you a demo of how it works, but it's instant. But then when I solved that problem, now what I realized was this problem is not just between Kenya and Somalia. It's actually an Africa-wide problem. Because a lot of the fintechs, the big fintechs, are focused on diaspora to Africa. For example, it is very easy to send money from Canada to Kenya, but it's very difficult to send money from Botswana to Kenya.
I was actually thinking about Botswana now. Yeah.
Maybe I read your mind.
Yes. Because, I mean, Botswana is very close to South Africa.
Yes.
And they probably can do it between themselves. But I guess when it comes to Kenya or Tanzania and South Africa, right?
Yes. So sending money from one mobile money in Africa to another, it's very difficult. It's very expensive. The average cost is 8.2%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. Imagine 8.2%. What means today if you send 100,000 shillings from M-Pesa to another person in M-Pesa, the cost I think is 108 shillings. That is 0.01%. If you send 100,000 from Botswana to Kenya, you will spend 8,200 shillings.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Imagine just... In fact, I had a friend who was a lecturer in Botswana. He used to send money to Kenya. He told me he spends close to 10%.
To send some money?
Yes, from across Africa. So now once we have solved the problem of sending between EVC to M-Pesa, we want to spread now to the rest of Africa. In fact, that's why if you look at our tagline, we are saying, connect mobile money across Africa. So now it is live for Somalia and Kenya. We are already in discussions to extend it to Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and then later the rest of Africa. In fact, now this is what takes majority of my
time,
because the other product, Dawati, that's now, it's a product that's already done. So it's working. It does not need a lot of my time. Just maybe doing few administrative things and, those kind of things. So this actually takes now the bulk of my time, Afripesa.
I see. But it looks like it's a game changer, right?
Yes.
In the whole this industry.
Yes.
Right?
In fact, that's our plan.
Right.
We are now in the process of fundraising for it. So we have some few investors whom we've agreed. They have given us the timesheets. So once we now close the round, we will do the expansion plan to other countries in Africa.
Right.
Yes. Our idea is we want to make sending money across Africa as easy as sending money within a country.
Kenya.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are in Ghana and you want to send it to Tanzania, it should be as easy as when you are sending within Tanzania.
Right.
Yes.
So you said the first few countries you're focusing is Tanzania.
Yes, we want to focus within East Africa. Even East Africa, a lot of people think that it's easy to send money. Even in East Africa, it's not very easy. For example, today, if you have money in Tigo Cash in Tanzania.
Tigo Pesa.
Yes, Tigo Pesa. And then you want to send it to M-Pesa. It's not easy. Or you have MTN money, Uganda, and you want to send, let's say, to Airtel Tanzania. I don't know if there's Airtel in Tanzania, but I'm just taking as an example.
Yeah.
It's still not very easy. There, for example, M-Pesa to maybe some partners like M-Pesa, it's now possible. But, M-Pesa is one direction. So, in fact, a lot of people have been asking us, how come I cannot use M-Pesa to do this? But if you look at it, M-Pesa is in Kenya. So M-Pesa can send it from Kenya, let's say, to Tanzania. But M-Pesa cannot allow you to send from Tigo Pesa to M-Pesa. Because
to M-Pesa to top up a local account. Here.
Yes, because M-Pesa only works for you if you are a Kenyan and you want to send to another country. But if you are from another country...
Oh, so it's possible to send from M-Pesa to another country?
Yes, currently M-Pesa is trying to solve that.
Okay.
They are calling it M-Pesa Global. But...
All right.
That's
actually what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. The best case scenario for M-Pesa is they can solve 2% of the problem. The best case scenario.
Why?
Because there are 54 countries in Africa. So if M-Pesa, the best M-Pesa can do is to allow you to send from Kenya to the 54 countries. But for this problem to be solved, you need to be able to send from 54 to 54. So the number of possibilities you need is 54 times 54. How many is that?
That's a lot.
So M-Pesa can solve 1 times 54. So it will be 54.
Oh, you mean you also considering in between?
Yes.
Oh, not just, I get it. Not just, I don't know how you call it, but
yes.
like from Kenya and two countries, but not between themselves and not between Kenya.
Yes. So you see,
I see.
For example, now if you are in Zambia, and you want to send it to Ghana,
exactly.
M-Pesa cannot solve that problem.
Yeah.
If you are in Ghana, you want to send it to Ethiopia, M-Pesa can. That's what I'm saying. It can only solve the best case scenario. They can solve only 2% because if I do the maths, if I open my calculator.
But I thought Safaricom is not just in Kenya, right?
How many countries are they in?
I don't know.
The only other country they are in is in Ethiopia.
Okay.
Yeah, because you see Safaricom, they cannot go to another country because it's a telco. They have to go and set up.
Oh, the infrastructure and everything.
Yes,
I
so
understand.
that's
from the perspective of
as a telco, they can't.
Yes,
they
like
can't.
internet provider and everything.
Yes,
I understand.
yes.
But they're also like they are doing this pretty good software. I mean,
No, it's good, and it is working for what it has been
designed for.
But unless now, the way they can do maybe is if they spin off, they create a startup, and now they say this startup is going to work in this different country, not as a Safaricom or a telecommunication company, maybe as just a startup, you see,
Another
which
product.
can get, so maybe that's the only way. But currently they can't do that because they don't exist in other countries. So they can't allow you, for example, to send from DRC to Burundi because they don't have presence in either countries. But if you are a Kenyan, maybe they can allow you to send from Kenya to DRC if they get an API connection to.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And quick question. You said you've been to Somalia, right?
Yes.
You've been there. You were born there, or you were born in Kenya?
Myself.
Yes.
That's a very tricky question. So if myself, I'm a Somali.
Right.
So Somalis live both in Kenya, Somalia, and even Ethiopia.
Right.
We are a cross-border community. So I have relatives in Kenya. I have relatives in Somalia.
Right.
So I can go there and even become a citizen. I can also go to Ethiopia
and become a citizen in Ethiopia.
Become a citizen. Because in Ethiopia, there's a region called the Somali region.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes. In Kenya, the whole of northern part is. So because of that, we are basically a cross-border community. So you will find that some of us live in, you'll find maybe my aunt is in Somalia.
Right.
But my uncle is in Kenya. You could even find I have some other relatives in Ethiopia. But I went to Somalia as a Kenyan citizen. Yes, so I went there as a Kenyan citizen. But because I'm a Somali while I'm there, I can still live like a local because I speak the language. I also look like them. So there are also other Kenyans who are not Somalis who are working in Somalia. In fact, a good number of the customers who are using now Afripesa are Kenyans who are not Somalis. Kenyans from other parts. For example, Kenyans from Nyanza, Central, and Eastern, other parts that are not Somalis.
Yeah. And how many countries you've traveled here already in Africa?
So in Africa, Ethiopia, Tanzania, South Africa, Rwanda, and South Sudan.
South Sudan.
Yes. In fact, most of them I traveled while I was working for, the original, my original employer.
Right.
I went to South Africa for training, IBM training because we're also IBM partners. Ethiopia, I went there to work for some months because we had some projects happening in Ethiopia. Then South Sudan, I went there to do some project for MTN. There was a time MTN was they were having a problem with their Oracle
databases.
Oracle database. In fact, they were having problem with something called RAC.
Oh, okay.
RAC, it means Real Application Cluster. So basically a cluster is where you have multiple deployments of the same thing. For example, you have a copy of the database. So you have two databases, the same databases, they are mirroring each other. So it's called Real Application Cluster. So companies use it, one, for redundancy, and load balancing. So what happened with that time was they deployed real application cluster. Now they had a problem with the storage. Instead of mirroring twice, it was mirroring 4 times. So it was consuming
A lot of memory.
A lot of memory. So they contacted Oracle South Africa. They were not able to help them. Every time they just tell them, do this, they send instructions. So they were not able to solve the problem. So now they looked for the company that was helping them looked for local experts, in Kenya. So I was one of the people who was contacted, myself and another.
Because you were good in Oracle, with Oracle systems and everything.
Yes.
And then that's how you traveled to
Yes,
South
then we went
Sudan.
to South Sudan.
Yeah.
So we were able to solve the problem. In fact, myself and the colleague I went, in fact, the colleague I went was the one who was very good. Myself, I was good, but not that good. I was just good enough, but he was the expert.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there. In fact, in 2 days, we were able to solve the problem. And then stayed there for like 3 days. Then I came back. So South Sudan. But I've also traveled to other parts, mainly for work related, which was still with the original company. I went to, when we were doing that Safaricom project, the CRM project, I also worked on that project in Portugal for like 1 month.
In Portugal?
Yes,
Yeah.
for 1 month.
My dad, you used to also travel to Portugal, to Porto.
Oh, okay. What was he doing there?
Yeah, he had some work. It was like many years ago. I think it was some construction work.
So we were working with a company that was in Portugal.
Yeah.
Which was our partner. So part of the work was done there. So there's also a time I was there mainly for work with the original company that they had worked for.
Yeah, I'm asking because you see, you've traveled Africa a lot, I would say, right?
Yes.
You've been to many countries, so you actually know the problems, and you know, like, the solution you are proposing, for example, to solve some of those problems, right?
Yes.
It might, it will work. Because you are not just guessing, you already experienced some of the problems they have.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's very correct. In fact,
Yeah,
some of the problems I experienced it myself, and even
exactly. While
very
traveling,
frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand. So you say about
Continue.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm thinking because I met so many also Somali people here in Kenya, and I see it's like the society is basically divided into, like, between Somali and or let me say Kenyan Somalis, and also since I think it's because of. I mean, if you Google the religion of Kenya, you'll get half Christianity and half Islam, right?
Yeah.
So I assuming also, like, the society is basically divided between two.
Yes.
Like,
so in fact, it's not even half.
It's not half.
Maybe I think Christians maybe 75.
Or it's a little more.
Yes, it's more. Then there are Muslims. So Muslims mainly, they are the Somalis are Muslims.
Yeah.
And also the coastal people.
All right.
So if you go to the coast, there are people who are Muslims who are not Somalis.
Oh yeah, true.
And
true.
And then the Somalis. So maybe they make 25%
but
society, and then the rest is the Christians now from other communities.
Yeah. But this is what makes Kenya so unique in my perspective, because this is where, like, these two culture, or I don't know, it's like a one culture, but it's merged from, influence of Christianity plus Islam, and it's basically turns into something unique that we have only here. Because I travel to some Islam countries, and they are a little different. Kenya has a very interesting flavor of that.
Yeah, in fact, Kenya sometimes is even more than that. Also African countries like Kenya, the other thing is that we have even many internal cultures.
Right.
Kenya and a number of African countries, there are actually many nations that have been put together. So, because we have even different languages.
Yeah, I know. Kenya has a lot of languages.
Like 40 plus languages. So you will find, for example, let's say Somalis have their own language. Maasai, they have their own language. Luo, they have their own language. Nandi, they have their own language.
Kisumu, Kisii.
Kisii, they have their own language. And these languages, a lot of them are not even related. So these people, they had different cultures, different languages, different they even had their own traditional religions.
Oh, really?
Yes, because Christianity only came the last 100 maybe and 10 years after the British, established a colony in Kenya.
Right.
So now you have all of those things that are mixing together, different communities, different language. Unlike, for example, Europe. In Europe.
But Europe is also like that. It consists of small countries. There's so many.
Yes, but in Europe, most of the time when you go to a country, they have most of them the same language. Like
they're just different accents, maybe in some other parts of.
Because
some countries are more like that, but some they can have very different.
Which countries?
I think Belgium, right? They speak French, but I think they also speak some other.
But it's very small. Belgium, they speak. You see, in Europe, you will find maybe two languages or three at the most.
That's true.
In Africa,
it's not like that. Not
you will
50
find
in one.
80 languages. For example, if you
in
go
one country.
Yes, if you go to Ethiopia, you will find something like that.
200, I think, in Ethiopia.
You'll find 80 languages, and they are not even related. Some of them are very far from each other.
Yeah, I heard a funny story why Ethiopia wasn't colonized. You know why?
Maybe you can tell me your version, and then
my version is like because Jesus, I'm not sure if I should say this, but because when the British came,
yes,
and they saw that these people eat raw meat,
yes,
so or something like this. I don't remember exactly the story, but they were afraid, so they just decided not to move forward.
No, I don't think that is not the truth.
It's just a myth, but I understand.
It's just a myth.
It's funny.
But, the real reason is, when the Europeans, they held something called the Berlin Conference in 1884. So they divided Africa into spheres of influence.
Oh, okay.
So Ethiopia was under the sphere of Italian influence. In fact, there was a time the British went to Ethiopia. I think they even captured most of it.
Yeah.
I think even at that time, the Ethiopian king, when he was just about to be captured, he killed himself. But the British left because it was not in their sphere of influence. It was the area that was allocated to
Italy,
to Italians. And because Ethiopia, it's a bit far from the shores.
Right.
At that time, people were not using aeroplanes. They were using ships to travel.
Yes.
So since Ethiopia is interior, when the Italians came, they took the land first that was close to the shores, which is Eritrea, because Eritrea is close to the Red Sea and Somalia. So by the time they got to Ethiopia, it was they had a battle. The Ethiopians were prepared. There was a war, and then the Italians lost that battle. So once they lost that battle, they only went back. Ethiopia was colonized for like 6 years. So in 1939, that around 1936, now the Italians went back again under someone called Mussolini.
Yeah.
So now that time they captured now Ethiopia, and the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie went in exile to Britain.
Okay.
Fortunately for them, Second World War broke out.
Yeah.
And then now the British came and
Rescued,
kicked out the Ethiopians, and then now they restored him. But if today you go to Ethiopia, you will find a lot of Italian influence.
There.
Have you been to Addis?
Addis Ababa. No.
Even the terms they use, even the food.
I have a friend.
For those 6 years.
I have a friend, a very good friend. She's from Ethiopia.
Yes.
Yeah. So I heard many stories. So this is where I got this story.
Yeah. So now that's what happened. So they were only colonized for like 6 years between 1936 and 1942. After which, the Italians now were kicked out by the British, and then they brought Haile Selassie back from UK, and now they restored him back to his leadership role.
Yeah, I definitely want to travel there, and few more countries, of course. Yeah. How did you find Ethiopia and Somali, and how is it different from Kenya? Because if I Google Addis, the capital,
yes.
I think it's some part looks like Mombasa a little, and some parts just look like Nairobi. What do you think?
Yeah, so Addis, I think one of the differences with Nairobi is how the city it looks more organic. Yeah, in terms of even how the people live. You know, in Nairobi,
more like with nature.
Not just with nature, even with the way people live. In Nairobi, there is very clear separation, for example, of commercial and residential. So in Addis, it's been more mixed. I think now it is changing, where you will find that.
Oh, I see. Like a city center.
Yes.
And then everything spreads.
Yes, even the city center is sort of distributed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then people live almost even within the city center.
Yeah.
Yes. So you'll find something.
Oh, yeah. Because Kenya has the CBD, they have an old one uptown, downtown.
Yes.
Some old railway stations and very old buildings built by Brits, as I understand.
Yes.
Like very old. And and you said like in Addis, it's
more mixed.
Yeah,
it's more.
So it's like more spread.
Yes, it's more spread.
Okay.
And of course, the other thing is they use old cars there.
Mm.
You know Lada?
Of course.
Yes, they like.
I think it's still from USSR.
Yes, in fact, maybe 50% of their taxis there are Lada.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No. I would never imagine that.
Yes. In fact, there was a time in Addis, I went somewhere, and then I was using that ladder, and then it started raining in the evening. So the car did not have wipers. So now the driver was holding a wiper with his hand, and then
and driving at the same time.
Yes, driving with one hand.
I only seen
the other one. He was holding a wiper doing that, and then it broke down. So he had to call another friend to come and
with another wiper,
with another taxi. Because when I asked, it's because of they have very expensive, very high taxation for vehicle imports.
Yeah.
So now because you cannot import a vehicle, they just rely on the old. And you know, in the 70s, Ethiopia was aligned with the Soviet Union. There's when it was under someone called Mengistu Haile Mariam, when he was the president. Himself, he was a communist, he was a socialist, so he was aligned. So they got a lot of material, vehicles and things. So they still maintain that ladders.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe now it will change, but
okay,
when I was there, that was how it was.
Is it safe?
Yes, yeah, it's safe. It's actually quite safe. It's safer than Nairobi.
You think so? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Because of you see, in Nairobi, for example, you can walk here in Kilimani, but maybe you cannot walk from here to CBD at night.
Some people say, I mean, Eastlands, right? If you go to Eastlands, that's might be a little tricky, right?
Yes.
Because I understand some areas, but you see, even in New York,
yes,
there's some places you shouldn't go.
Yes.
You know? My friend, he was there. He says like there are some streets. No, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go there. I'm literally scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ethiopia is quite safe. Even Mogadishu is safe.
Mm-hmm. And what about Somalia?
Yes, Somalia, Mogadishu. In fact,
Mogadishu is the capital.
Yes, is the capital.
Okay.
So I can walk at night more freely in Mogadishu than in Nairobi.
Wow.
Yes. Because in fact, both Addis Ababa and Mogadishu, they are safer. In Nairobi, there's petty crime. Petty crime, like petty, small crimes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not very big things,
like
but somebody
to grab your phone,
somebody grabbing your phone,
uh-huh.
or somebody just robbery. Those not somebody
like
killing
bullies,
you. Yes,
bullies, hooligans. Yeah.
There is more of that here than.
But I guess it also depends because they would not touch you, but maybe if I would go there, maybe that would be a little different. Right?
That's possible, but generally they are safer from smaller crimes. There maybe you will face a risk of something big if it happens. Maybe there is war or something like that. But under normal days, it's quite safe.
Yeah. Well, thanks God. During my time here in Kenya, in Nairobi, I never had anything like that. I heard so many stories, but I've been to all places in Nairobi. I've been to Dandora and Mukuru and so many different areas.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so you've never had. So one thing I can tell you, and you do this experiment.
I hope it's a safe experiment.
No, this is safe. So if you talk to any young man who has lived in Nairobi, let's say maybe for the past 15 years or 20 years, maybe somebody who is 30, 35, if you talk to 5 of them, at least 4 of them would have been mugged.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
I'll do it.
That's one. Like myself, in fact, when I'm with some of my friends, like we are 5 of us, and we talk, each of us has had 1 or 2 incidents or 3. In fact, I have not seen a young man who has lived in Nairobi for a very long time who has not been
mugged. I understand.
Yes. So, but for somebody like you, because I think you've been here for 3 years, and maybe you also.
I'm a little careful.
Yes, a bit more careful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, of course, because I traveled before. It's not my first country. I lived in different environments, let's say.
Yes, but if you are not careful and you just go freely, so they will not kill you, but in fact, they do something they call in Nairobi ngeta. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
No, never.
They choke you.
Like on the street?
Yes.
Like this?
Yes, this one.
Ah.
Yeah, it happens. Like most people have had such kind of experiences.
Well, I remember when I came and this guy at work, he was telling me like I shouldn't go to CBD because they put something in the air.
Okay.
So when you walk, they can just what is it called? Sedate you or something.
Yes.
So you can just and then you wake up and you have nothing. You have your phone is gone and your bag and everything. Well, I mean now we almost every week we go to CBD and buy some stuff.
That's possible. CBD if it's during the day and even maybe early evening.
It's crowded.
It's okay. It's safe unless
Oh, you say it's night and not nights are
Maybe it's
different.
at night and you venture out towards
Yeah, yeah.
downtown. Now that could be a bit dangerous, but
My
CBD during the day is okay.
my friend, she went for shopping. No, sorry, not for shopping, but yeah, like for shopping for her shop. So she went for some market to get some clothes, and then she's like, she said she was so tired, and then she said something like a few minutes or seconds went by, and then she saw her bag is gone, and her phone is gone, and I was like, so what happened? And she's like, I don't remember. And then she was trying to say that this is someone like made her, maybe I don't know how do you call it.
I think she
like
was-
like hypnotized or something.
It's possible, yeah, that's sedation. I have heard, but I don't know how it works. I don't know what they use.
I don't think it's true, but yeah, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, people just get, when it's crowded spaces and many people, everyone is walking, you get a little distracted by,
Okay.
and and you feel like some kind of pressure when someone is trying to pitch you something always. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, you see, because my experience here and what I've heard about and what I experienced myself with Somali people, I think, like back in Ukraine, people know very little. Actually, nothing. They know nothing, but they associate Somali as with something bad.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why which I would like to break that.
That one, yeah. It's just because of, the media, because maybe
exactly.
you only hear
The
Somalia and then you
media
hear
is
about
lying.
war.
Exactly, the
only
war
hear
or yeah. When I show pictures of Kenya coast and how and everything, how it looks like, they're like, what is it? Is it? And then when I invite them, they said, no, it's war. I mean, like, which war? What do you mean?
Even in Mogadishu, when I was living there, I used to go to the beach at night.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, it has very, very beautiful beaches. It's very peaceful. People go there swimming at night, during the day.
Right.
In fact, when I was in Mombasa, I've never gone to beach at night because it's not.
Oh, really?
It's not. Yeah, in Mombasa, people don't go to the beach at night unless you are at a hotel. If you.
Oh, yeah. I understand. You're
That the
private.
hotel, yes, but the public beach, people
Just
don't go.
to the coast. Yeah.
In Mogadishu, people go to the public beach at night until they stay until midnight or even 1, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Then they go. In fact, when I show my friends photos that I took from the beach in Mogadishu,
Okay.
they can't believe it. They say, well, what is this? This is not what we have had. In fact, these are the that's Mogadishu beach. You
Wow.
can scroll, just scroll there.
Okay. Oh, it's so big
Yes,
and it's white.
yes,
Wow, it's so beautiful and peaceful.
yes.
Very nice. Remind me a little Diani, a little. But I think this one is even bigger. This one's like large,
Yeah,
huge beach.
Yes, it's very big.
Mm-hmm.
Because Somalia has the longest coastline in Africa.
Oh,
They have 3,300 kilometers of coast.
wow! Because African coast is very long. If you look at the map, it's huge.
The one for Somalia, it starts from here in near Lamu,
Yeah.
all the way to Red Sea, all the way to Djibouti.
And up to Djibouti.
Yes, all the way near Red Sea. So
Have you been to Lamu?
No.
No,
I've
me
been
too.
to Malindi.
Me too.
To Malindi, Diani.
Yeah,
And
but
then Mombasa.
not Lamu. I heard people use this these animals instead of taxi.
Yes, donkeys.
Donkeys. Yeah.
Yeah,
They use
because of it's an island, and I heard it has very narrow streets. So
I want to go there. I heard the food is very good there.
yes, generally in the cost, the food is good. Yeah.
All right. I think the last thing what we can think and maybe discuss is artificial intelligence. Do you use it? Have you used it for any of your projects, and do you use it yourself?
So I am currently I am using it in a small part for one of my projects, but
Use some APIs, some exposed
mainly
APIs?
for reporting, basically reporting.
For reporting.
Or let me call it analytics.
Analytics.
Yes, analytics.
Like QuickSight. Like AWS or?
No. In fact, I think DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
Yes. For example, let's say I have that system.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Afripesa.
Right.
And sometimes I want to know how many users transacted the last 5 days, something like that. So doing natural language query, something like that for analytics. So that's now one of the things that I am integrating. For example, then something like I wanted to know which user did the largest transaction in the last 5 days. Then because with artificial intelligence you don't have to write SQL to do that. You can just use a natural
you can just
language.
type it.
Yes, they will type it.
How do you connect these pieces? Like you export Excel and you upload, or you call some APIs.
So you like now the
transactions and everything.
Artificial intelligence like DeepSeek. The advantage that you can deploy it as a model onto your server.
Oh,
yes.
So you can install it.
Yes, you install it and then you give it access to your database.
Okay.
Then from there now it has interface that you can. So my developer is actually he's deploying. So I have tested it a bit. So it's still very slow. It's not fast, but that's one of the things that I'm using, artificial intelligence. I'm also considering using it on Dawati, the e-learning platform.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That would actually...
Yes, for
help.
Something called assessment. The e-learning platform, there's a component I hadn't talked about, but it has also a component for self-assessment where the student can do tests. And then currently the student takes a test, the system will mark the test and give you the results. Also,
so you can evaluate yourself.
Yes. So currently it has that model, that feature. So the student will take the test, the system will mark the test, then it will give you the results. It will tell you have scored 60%. Then the other thing system currently does is it gives you recommendation. In fact, we are calling it intelligent assessment. So we were not using artificial. We just did our own coding.
Yeah.
But it was marking only 3 types of exams. One is multiple choice, multiple response, or true and false. It was not able to mark exams that are essay. Essay where you write something. It was not able to mark. So we are thinking of adding that type of exam where it can now mark an essay using artificial intelligence. But we have not done that. It's something we are...
It looks like very narrowed, very specific task actually.
Yes.
Because if you approach it only... you would need to train a model to be able to actually give you, to analyze it according to criteria that are relevant in Kenya.
Yes.
But that's a very specific use case.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to say, and I heard this before, like if you are only focusing on one use case for the AI, it's just lots of money, but it's not that many conversion. So, and you won't be able to keep up, because once you've done your training, some other more, who has a more large objective, more wide, more broad, and many use cases will eventually replace you on the market.
Well, that is possible, but myself, the way I look at artificial intelligence, I just look at it as a tool.
Oh, of course.
Yes, just it's a tool to do what I want. In fact, for my customer who is using, they don't even need to know that I'm using artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
They just need to get that this system is able to, because you see, I'm not a provider of artificial intelligence.
Of course.
So if somebody comes with a better, I don't care, because
Right.
I am able to. My user is able to take that test, and the artificial intelligence is able to mark accurately and give results and even provide,
A proper assessment,
feedback,
and suggestions,
and recommendations.
Yeah.
So for me, that's good enough. Now, if I find another use case, because one of the problems sometimes people have with artificial intelligence is that artificial intelligence can do a lot of things, but it may do nothing for you.
Of course, if you don't know how to use it. Yeah.
Yes. So the fact that it can do a lot of things is not useful to you.
Exactly.
What is useful to you is what is that specific thing. If, for example, you can use that artificial intelligence
Yeah.
to automate your customer care, for example.
Yes.
Let's say for Afripesa. Currently, we provide customer care support using WhatsApp, where the user will, if they have a challenge, see, if there's a way I can automate that using artificial intelligence, for me, that is good enough. So
Yeah.
what I think is that artificial intelligence, in a way, we need to separate the hype
Of course.
from the reality.
Yeah.
It just needs to prove itself that
Yeah. Yes.
it can do some things and continuously, improve on those tasks. Maybe at some point now we will get to a point where what they call, AGI, artificial general intelligence, where now it can just maybe now work on your behalf and do everything. But we are not there yet. And maybe if the artificial intelligence is available, the resources that are required to do that for the average, user, or even the average, let's say, enterprise, a small enterprise,
Business.
may not be there. Because if you are a small business and you want maybe artificial intelligence to do everything, maybe yes, it can do, but how much compute
Power you need for
Yes.
that.
maybe the cost of compute power you will need might be higher than you hiring somebody, a human being, to do the work.
Right.
So those are some of the
Considerations. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
All right. This was very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very happy to meet you and for us and to have this conversation. I hope I can see you sometime again.
Okay. Me
Yeah.
too. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much. This was very insightful. I think. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you too.
Thanks.
Okay.
Right.